pressure. Yeah.
Who do you think was the best medic of all time, or when we played?
To me, it's Shade. He was just super consistent, and I think he got a lot of championships off of his play. Um, yeah, like a really, really solid medic player. Harblu is really good too, though. And I think they had different styles, and I think that's what like when I watched both of them, I learned from both of them.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and like I really liked how vocal Harblu was, and I was always like watching his POV, being like, how could he know so much
Yeah.
from standing back there? Which I thought was cool. Yeah. How about you?
I'll say part of the reason I quit TF2, honestly, um, Harb was so much the better medic than anybody I've ever played with. It was legitimately unfun to play with another medic. Like, and I remember Harb was like away. We were playing in like the Zowie Cup or something, and we had another medic rigging for us, like multi-invite champion. I won't say who because it doesn't matter. Like they're a really good player. Like I'm not saying they're bad at all. They're really really good medic. And I remember like I could just remember the feeling of like how excruciating it was waiting like an extra 2 seconds for a buff, like on a push or something, and like thinking like this just fucked up my the entire rhythm of how I want to play this whole map. Like I don't know, Harb was just like he was just like I could gush about Harb as medic forever. Like he was the perfect medic. Like it just
Yeah.
you were never wanting for a heal or a buff. The heal order was never fucked up. Like if he dropped an Uber, somebody else was fucking up. Like he was supposed to hold there. Like I don't know. I would say you play a season or two. I think I played 2.5 seasons with Harb. Like I started disliking TF2 after I left Mixup, and
Yeah, that's
it
funny.
just wasn't as fun. It's like you're a scout with 125 health again. Like that's
Yeah.
not fun. So
Yeah.
I'd say
And
Harb for
and it's
sure.
funny because like people will watch that and with two high level medics and they can't really see the difference because it's something that you wouldn't really pick up on unless you're like in the driver's seat playing. So that's really interesting. And I
Yeah,
think what made him really strong is that he played so many other classes at a high level,
yeah,
so he knew what those people wanted,
yeah.
and I
He
felt like he
won.
understood the game.
He won. I think he was roamer for Check Six when they won the undefeated season, right?
Uh,
Or maybe he was medic
Crap, I can't remember.
actually.
I feel like it was TLR and Dave AC.
Yeah, okay, I think it was. Yeah,
Yeah, but I can't remember. Was it Hard Medic?
for sure it was. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
There's another like you want to have a retrospect. Where the fuck is the conversation about Valen and Uve? Like those guys,
Right.
two other players.
Oob. Oh my god. Yeah. Oob definitely didn't get any love. Yeah.
Like these
That's a tough
guys,
one.
these
No, but
guys.
okay, I can give Valen a little bit of love. Like, okay, so example of someone who changed the game. Valen, like, so Bonk had come out and they didn't nerf it yet.
Yeah,
So post nerf, if you take damage while you're bonked, you get slowed down. So when it comes off, like you're just dead. But pre nerf, you come off and you're at full speed.
mm-hmm.
And so this guy would like bonk and go behind people, and now you got to scout behind you all of a sudden. There's nothing you can do. There's literally nothing you could have done to stop him from going back there because he's bonk, and now you're
Yeah,
like, okay,
that's
like,
such a
and
bad item. Like,
he had great game sense. Like you weren't gonna go pick him off, so like now how you can send one person back, he's gonna MGE you. He's gonna send two people back. That's you're down numbers.
the
That
thing
was rough.
about Valen and Uve both is like I don't think either of them were considered to have particularly good DM, but they were really really good players because they were in position, like they were back capping a lot. Like I
Yeah.
think they before that, like before the Valen Uve era, it was like the Carnage era, right? It was like
Mm-hmm.
the whole W, like you have to just like randomly get a frag that like you shouldn't really get, and like I got the sense, I wasn't an invite player at the time, but I could kind of see the game evolving a bit, where it's like everyone's getting a bit better, like your demo's a bit better. You're not just going to get to walk all over the other team's medic. So there was like this window in this evolving meta for like two scouts who weren't like DM gods, but like knew how to play positions and heals and like push properly, and like they had an undefeated season. Like I don't know if anyone has done that since. Maybe, but not against that kind of competition, right? Like that was almost like check six was. I don't know. Maybe I'm wrong. I won't speak to that. I wasn't that good of a player, so I don't know what the perception of those players was. But I got the sense that they weren't like they were considered pretty big underdogs, and they just came out and won, right? So
Yeah, I agree that they're considered underdogs because yeah, prior to that season, you hadn't heard about those guys playing on any other teams really. At TLR though, I'm wondering, but like
Tyler,
Like,
yeah,
do you
like
remember Kalkin being on, like, some team and being like, "Oh, yeah, like, this guy's gonna totally win an undefeated season of Invite?" Like,
yeah,
not
yeah,
really.
exactly. And I think Harb was I don't think Harb was a medic before then. I think he was a roamer, maybe for mix up or something, right? So
Yeah. But they had a good combination of talent and the creativity. Like, I think the battalion's backup on Viaduct still sticks out to me as, like, what the heck?
yeah,
Who's
that's what
using
they were
that thing?
using too. I remember
And it was
that.
basically like a second Uber. It was so overpowered, they had to nerf it. Like,
Dave AC was using that, right? It was like a roamer battalion's backup.
yeah, it was like, what are they doing here? Like, no one
Yeah,
had ever thought of doing that.
yeah.
So like, yeah, the bunk, the backup, yeah, there's like a bunch of, and that they need to crease at the right times.
One
It was
thing,
just different.
one thing I think would be cool to explore in this series, because I forget about this sometimes too. Like the addition of items in TF2, like why did we let those in competitive play? Like they just changed the meta in huge ways. Like I remember like Apocalypse Gaming, that was the first season I went to LAN. I think it was like after the season ended and before LAN, like Quick Fix came out and like it was just really good. Like you were basically unkillable. It was like 90% heal rate or something every second. I don't remember, but you basically became unkillable. Your medic could rocket jump with the pocket, and like it's like we just played like this little like tiny meta like bubble meta that existed for just a little bit of time. I think it got nerfed or banned or something after, but it was like yeah, we just let this thing make teams play way differently for one weekend, and then we banned it or it got nerfed. It's like, why did we do that?
Yeah.
We had to learn
Yeah,
that stuff.
I remember Quick Fix being like, "What is this thing?"
Yeah,
And it was based off a change, and then you had to just play with it. They didn't like make mid-season
yeah, yeah.
adjustments that quickly. Yeah.
Maybe. So I think the way it worked was in ESEA, like you voted on the team captains in Invite voted on what items to ban and not ban at the
Yes.
start of the season. I think
Yes.
no one really used it. Like, you know, it was just like the battalion's backup. Like, everyone was just not fucking around with the new unlocks because whatever. And then someone tried it and they're like, oh, this is really unbeatable. And
Some
like,
secret tech, like, let's not talk
yeah,
about
everyone
it.
saw it in scrims and they're like, oh, now we got to run this thing. Like, and it totally changes how the game is played.
Right.
It let the medic run as fast as the scout when they were healing them, which I understand is now like a real game mechanic. But that
Yeah.
was novel too, right? Like you could like Uber in with your
Yep.
soldier and your scout would like run your medic out. Like it was
Yeah.
crazy. Like think about how
It was
slow a
insanely
medic
strong.
was with just the Uber gun, and that's all they used to
Yeah.
have in the crits.
Yeah. Yeah. It was fun. Oh, by the way, funny story. I did end up so my first LAN I went to, I like discovered 120 hertz monitors because I played on this gaming laptop with this really shitty like 60 hertz like little thing built in,
That's
and
why
then
you
I
never
went there
made
and I'm like
invite.
everyone had like their own standalone PC with a 120 hertz monitor. It blew my mind. I was like, I need to get this, and Balin's like, oh yeah, like I don't need this monitor. It's like got like really bad input lag or whatever. And I'm like, I'll take it. Like how much is it? He's like, like $80. I'm like, oh, great, I'll take it. And I didn't notice the input lag at all. Like I was like, what is this guy complaining about? This thing's amazing. Uh, but yeah, that changed the game for me.
You saw that at like one of those California lands.
Yeah, it was my first one.
That's
Yeah,
hilarious. And then it
yeah,
probably like I don't know. I feel like
yeah. I brought
playing.
that back to my dorm. Yeah, and then I
Yeah.
had like, I had the monitor plugged into this laptop, right? And like people would like be like walking by my hallway, like you're like, who the fuck is this nerd? Like, because it wasn't like esports wasn't really a thing back
Yeah, yeah.
then. Like I think League of Legends was like in beta, you know. So like people would just like give me crap. I remember, oh
I
dude,
remember the
okay.
league beta.
There's a story of like so this like kid on my floor in my dorm. He was like he was known as like really like Christian, nice, like friendly kid who's like really innocent, and he does things that are a little bit socially weird, but like it's with a good
And it
heart.
wasn't Nursey, right?
No, no, it wasn't. And so this guy, like, people went home for Christmas, and when they came back, they found pictures on their doors. Like he had printed out pictures of like something that he thought of them, you know, and like it was like things that they're interested in. Like the one guy like football on it, right? He was like
Yours
into
is just
GSC
a
football, and mine was
monitor.
just TF2. No, it was not a monitor, but it was just TF2, right? Like just the logo. And like I remember looking at being like, is that all people think of me? Like, is the TF2 guy? Like,